The views and opinions expressed on the cap are those of the hosts. They do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Old Milk Media. Any opinions stated aren't intended to offend anyone. On this episode of the Cat Podcast, we react to Fancy That by PinkPantheress. Welcome back. This is episode 608 of your critical but accurate tour through hip hop, the Cat Podcast. We are your tour guides. I am Nate Sperlin. That is Taylor McLeod. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you might be tuning in. Feel free to go ahead and join the conversation by leaving a comment and liking this video. Subscribing to the channel also helps a lot. Sharing with your friends. That being said, Taylor, it's been a while, man. It's been like a month. How you doing?
Feels like it's been more than a month. I'm good. I got this big old beard that I'm
Mhm.
working on. Uh it's just been working. See, it's always strange. I forget how long it's been between episodes because you and I talk every day
Yeah.
in the chat and we're on FaceTime all the time. So it's like I forget how long it's been. And there's a lot of times where we're talking about similar stuff, just with more people than we are here. So I thought it had been either I knew it had been a while. I thought it had been longer than a month, honestly. But what was the last one? Lil Durk?
Yes. We did
Yeah,
Lil Durk and Nav on the same day, which I
that's true.
guess sowed the seeds of us having a full month off because
I
the
know.
universe was like, two in one day, you're working too
I
hard.
know.
Y'all
I
y'all
know.
go watch the NBA
Well, now I'm
playoffs.
working too hard in real life,
Yeah.
so we'll see what happens.
The rare off day for the caveman that Taylor has become. You look like
Yes.
you just gotta take your face and put it in black and white and like put it on a pack of beef jerky.
Yeah.
I think that'll sell.
I've been getting into beef jerky.
Oh, see? All right, there you go.
I never thought I'd be a beef jerky guy, but you got to get your protein.
Oh yeah, somehow, some way, for sure. On this episode of the Cat Podcast, we are discussing "Fancy That" by PinkPantheress. The project, well, the mixtape, as it is officially called, is 9 tracks, 20 minutes long, and there are no features on it. That being said, Taylor, what did you think about "Fancy That"?
Yeah, so it had been longer actually since Pink Panthers released than I thought. I thought that came out last year. What was that? Heaven Knows, her
Yeah,
album.
heaven knows.
So I thought that came out last
Also
year,
a
and then
mixtape.
I yeah, and so then I looked, and it was 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and so I kind of I hadn't heard a lot of music from her in the meantime. I just know that everyone on Twitter says she dresses like it's 2004. So like that's like my only, you know what I mean? But because of how much myself and the both of us liked that project in 2023, I had high expectations, and man, I wasn't let down at all. Like I'll get it out of the way and say like Pink Panthers does not make necessarily like my kind of music. Like Nate knows I listen to Boldy James every day. And like
Mhm.
every new album that comes out every 2 weeks, like that's just what I listen to for the
Boldy
next two
James is
weeks.
his NBA young boy for sure.
Yeah, right. So I'm in this like independent slash like independent adjacent like just rap, like not even boom bap, it's just bars. Right. So I'm in that loop all the time. And so this is such like a breath of fresh air, and to have expectations for an artist like Pink Panthers and then play this through and it meets my expectations is super nice. And it pulls me out of that world that I spend 99% of my time in. And I also love that it's 9 songs, 21 minutes, especially with the summer around the corner. It's such like a perfect like jump in the car, going somewhere when like, it's nice out, you put this on and it gets you there. So I really liked it.
Yeah, I agree with you. As far as my expectations coming in, like I felt like the thing with Pink Panthers is that like everything makes sense. Like it may not be something that like um and it may not be a sound that you're accustomed to. It may be just like different sonics all around, but everything eventually comes together and makes sense. And that's why I appreciate Pink Panthers. I think a lot of that also comes from her ability to pair her vocal talents with her production talents. And whenever we really get artists like that, who can pair their talents so well, it usually makes sense. Like you think about J. Cole, you think about a man that we will not name anymore, but is still a legend in hip hop, but has disgraced himself. And then you think
Oh
about other
yeah.
people.
I
Um,
didn't know who you were talking about for a second there.
and you think about like other artists that they produce mainly, and then they also are able to rap or sing or do whatever they do over their beats, and it usually comes together well. So I expected the same out of this, and that's what I got. The thing that I thought that was interesting though was looking at the track list and seeing that there were no features. So to me, that kind of signaled that PinkPantheress would do more experimenting on this, and I think that's what she does. But I think there is some experimenting with her vocals, but I think more of the experimenting comes from the beat selection, and I think mainly the beat selection with the first four songs. And I think there's a reason why the album is structured that way, which I'll get into after. I like the packaging also. I like the album art. I like her wearing the crown. It symbolizes two things to me. One, she's British and she's acknowledging that she's British, and then two, like she's also acknowledging that she feels she's the best as she should, and as is apparent based off of Heaven Knows and based off of Fancy That, which is what we're talking about right now. As far as first thoughts, I thought it was interesting that she had production credits on everything. Everything that has vocals, she has production credits on. But on track five, the intermission, she doesn't have any
Yeah.
production credits. So I thought that was interesting. Um, I feel like there is a bit of a comparison between this project, Fancy That, and Dochi's Alligators Bites Never Heal, where they're being called mixtapes. And I think in this circumstance with Fancy That, it's more appropriate because it's only like 20 minutes. But at the end of the day, like the tracks, the quality of the tracks are like album level. So I find that to be the through line between Doechii and PinkPantheress. And they're also two artists who, especially today, like if I were to make a list of like newer artists who came out in the past 2 to 3 years that I feel for sure care about their music, PinkPantheress and Doechii will be on that list. And it once again shows here with Fancy That. I think that PinkPantheress is taking a more apparent or more obvious mature approach to her lyrics. Like in previous tracks she would kind of like signal certain things, but now she's like just now saying it. And I appreciate that. I feel like the first half is also, it makes me feel like it's inspired by like 1980s pop.
Yeah.
And there's like the tempo of it, like just like the, it feels like a model on a runway. Like it feels like the type of tempo where you're in H&M and they want you to buy something and get out. And that's
Yeah.
the tempo that they typically have. Um, After the intermission though, and I think the intermission is probably the most important track just because of the way that it's basically a border between the first half and the second half. Like nothing in the second half really sounds like anything on the first half, and even like the themes of the tracks through the lyrics aren't the same either. But they all fit together to tell one story. Um, I think that it was important for PinkPantheress to change her cadence and change the way that she sang throughout, and she does a good job of that. Being that there's no features, and that is an example of the vocal experimentation that I was looking for. And I think that overall, before I hand it back to you, Taylor, this tells a story. Like I think that the first four tracks kind of seem like a fantasy of PinkPantheress, like being the it girl and like being able to get whoever she wants, and just being like that girl. And we get to the interlude, and then after the interlude it seems like the tracks are more grounded in reality. And that may I also think that the beats that she picks with that 1980s pop, like that type of feel, also goes to like I'm that girl, like I'm the it girl. Because like when you think about like Madonna and stuff like that was basically the vibe. And I think she does a
Yeah.
good job of mirroring that. And then after the intermission, you get more modern tracks and you get more tracks grounded in reality. More modern tracks in terms of like the beat selection. And these tracks, Noises, Nice to Know, Stateside and Romeo, those tracks, they start to show little cracks in the fantasy that Pink Panther has spent tracks one through four singing about, rapping about. So I love the fact that she's able to like pair that together and make it like one song where it's like, or not one song, one story, and one cohesive project where the first half is like, this is what I think is happening, and then the second half is this is what's actually happening. And then
Yeah.
I have to come to terms with what's actually happening. And I'll get more in depth with that with the song by song, because there are certain songs that feel are more important than others in telling the story. But handing it back to you, Taylor.
Yeah, I like everything you said, and I agree with everything you said. I think like the whole conversation, all this comes down to like the root is that you can tell Pink Panthers really cares about the music that she makes and the music that she puts out. And I think that when you do a 9 track mixtape with no features, that's like another display of that. Like, no, this is just mine. I'm telling the story exactly how I want it to. Like, this isn't to incorporate a bunch of other people. Like, this is me. And then, like you said, she has production credits on 8 of the 9 tracks. So the eight, for lack of a better word, like real tracks, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And then I think it's cool. I look through all the credits. I mean, she has vocal engineering tracks on most of these too. So she's like recording herself making these songs. So this has the feeling of like a pretty small group project that
Yeah.
she was is running and that she's guiding the direction of or maybe not even guiding, maybe commanding the direction of and doing exactly what she wants. And I think that opens up so many doors to try, like you said, like the 80s pop sound with all the synths. And then you got like the especially being from the UK, it's like the house and the techno influences in the faster drums than me and you are probably used to. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Because like the music that you and I usually listen to or at least talk about is like obviously more like either traditional hip hop or more modern hip hop, but it's like and then you get like these different BPMs and these different drum patterns from other types of music that aren't necessarily at the forefront of my interests.
Mhm.
And it's just like it's so nice. It's so nice to get that from an artist who just really knows what she wants to do and just executes a plan. This feels like such a well like planned out executed project like you said the whole like runway show. I mean it's set up like that. It's set up, we got the first half 4 tracks, intermission 5 tracks, and then I like how you framed it in terms of like the beginning is kind of this like euphoric like fantasy,
Mhm.
and then the second half it's not sad, but you know what I mean, it's not sad or like
No, it's
super
not
like
sad at
whatever,
all.
but it's definitely coming back to earth, and it kind of feels like it feels like a night out,
Yeah.
right? It feels like a night out where it's like things get started, you're like, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? And you're like, this night could take us anywhere. And
Mhm.
then like once it starts to get to a certain point and you start, coming back into yourself, whether that's good or bad, you know what I mean? Like you can have nights where you settle down and you're like, man, I'm at peace. I'm around people I enjoy. You can have nights where you're like, I'm really not at peace and I might be around people I enjoy, but I'm not enjoying them right now.
Mhm.
Right. So I think it's so perfect in that way. And that's it's all a result of how much she cares and like the vision that she has and the like dedication to executing that vision instead of just trying to make because like Boy's a Liar, right? On
Yeah.
Heaven Knows, like that was the one, right? Like we all
Mhm.
know that that was the one, and then you had the remix with Ice Spice, right? So it's like, yeah, clearly we're at okay. It's like that is the hit. Here, it's like the whole project to me is a hit, and when we get into the song by song, you and I talked about this before. It's going to be more difficult for me song by song because like this is a short project, but I just let it run. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I kind of like it's almost more like a it's cliche and I use it a lot, but it's more like a movie. Maybe not even a movie. It's more like a handheld camera video of
Okay.
like a night out,
Yeah.
right? Like it's
Yeah.
more of like a documentation of of this experience, and it's immersive in that way. And it's even more immersive than these albums that you and I listen to that you call like cinematic or whatever, right? And you're like, oh,
Mhm.
that shit was a movie. It's like, nah, this is like almost like more like grassroots. Like this is like a
It's more personal.
right. It's like a firsthand
Personable.
account
Yeah.
of what's
Yeah.
happening without all the polish, but you still have the great polished music to tell this like maybe not so polished story. And
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. Getting into the song by song, we have to start with the intro. And here we have Pink Pantheress basically painting, and to your point, Taylor, and now that kind of your point kind of makes me think or makes me wonder, is this just all happening in one night, or is this just like a developing day by day story? Because you have illegal and Pink Panthers is basically painting the picture of a one night stand on this song.
Yeah.
Like you
It could
already
be like
mentioned
it could be
before.
like a vacation, like a
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah, like it could maybe like 2 days somewhere or something like that.
Yeah.
Like and like it's interesting because like I like before when we talked about Heaven Knows, we mentioned that it felt like there was a huge influence of K-pop throughout that
Yeah.
project. And here is like we already agree that it's like it feels like 1980s like electronic pop music, but at the same time, like you still have like that percussion on Illegal that feels like K-pop and has that
Yeah.
K-pop tempo. And I just feel like being able to blend those things together from Pink Panthers, I think that's really, really impressive. I like the fact that she's kind of singing a lot on this. She's singing a lot throughout the project more than she's rapping, and I think that that also could be a level of experimentation because she does sing in different notes and different cadences throughout also. But I feel like just like having everything blend together so perfectly, and I think that this is a really good start to the project. And it definitely sets the stage for the next four tracks, which I feel like kind of mirror the same function in the story.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I like you said it like I think it's a good point you make, like the maturity, right? Like the setting the tone with like the one night stand to start things. It's like, all right, yeah, like it has like the little like Y2K like ringtone y like sound to it, but it's like, no, this is real life though. You know what I mean? This is real life for someone in their 20s like doing this shit, and it's not this like it's just like unapologetically the artist.
Yeah,
And to set the tone like that, it definitely put me in a better frame of mind in terms of what we were gonna get, especially hearing the first song and being like, this isn't necessarily like my favorite type of music, but it's intriguing enough and it's from a trusted source, you could call it, that it's like, all right, I'm here now. Like, you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, we're in this, and let's see what else is, going to come after it.
Yeah, I think trusted source is the perfect way to describe Pink Panthers and certain artists like her, where like even Kendrick, like I would say, is a trusted source because it's like you don't
Certainly.
really know what you're gonna get. Like every single project is gonna be something different, but you trust them enough um for you to believe that the album is going to be good, and that's really all that matters at the end of the day. I want to move on. To songs after the intermission because that's really where I have most of my comments. I love noises. Noises to me is the best. When I was looking through the credits before I even pressed play on this album, I saw that Nardo Wick had writing credits on this, and I was confused. I was like, why does like that's just a weird pairing? But now listening to the song and seeing how Pink Panthers samples and incorporates Nardo Wick's huge track, "Who Wants Smoke." um the way that that comes together is very interesting and like the way that like it's because this is the first track where the cracks in the fantasy start to show, and Pink Panther is here is basically uh telling a story of like she's alone in in her house and she hears random noises and she's like, what's
Yeah.
going on? And then you have the doom doo doo doom doo doo doom. What is that?
Yeah.
From the Nardo Wick song. So I think that she incorporates that really well. I think that her overlaying her voice over the what is that also adds a nice touch to it. So it's not like her just like purely like just like copy and pasting it. She's adding her own flair to the concept. And overall, like I think that this is probably like the best example of the production and vocal talent coming together, and also like the creativity that she has all coming together to produce a really, really good song.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's little tiny like lyrics throughout that are like you said, like those cracks. Like when she says she has nothing to spare, it's like, oh, all right, we're at the point of either the night or the couple days or whatever where like things you start to get like maybe not desperate in like the romantic way, but like just desperate generally.
Yeah.
Like that, like, all right, like we're kind of like we're over the crest of like, oh, this is the best time ever, to like, all right, it's still real life, but we do have like, and we'll get to it, it's not all like, it doesn't all just like go like even steadily down, right? Like
Yeah.
it kind of like turns back around at one point. But when I heard noises, you expect it, especially being after intermission, you're like, all right, this is gonna set us on a just on the down the other side of the roller coaster, right? But and we'll get to it, like I said, but it definitely it's like a nice setup, man. It's like a nice setup. You're like, okay, like, all right, it's getting a little overwhelming right now, and you think that's gonna be the rest of it. And I honestly expected the end of it to be like kind of like subdued, and
Yeah.
then that doesn't, like, we can go into it, but like that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Moving right along to the next song, track seven, Nice to Know You. Here it seems like Pink Panther, well, Pink Panthers is definitely trying to check on the status of the relationship. Like she says, like, yo, I'm trying to check on the status. And it seems like the signs of like whatever's going on ending or a breakup happening, it seems like those things are happening and she's confronting those signs of it.
Yeah.
And I love the way that she sings on the chorus. Like that's probably the highlight of her vocals for me on the whole project, the way that she sings on the chorus. Um, moving on to stateside also, because this is the one that we really want to talk about. When first of all, anyone saying you can be my American is just objectively a hilarious thing to say.
Oh
And
yeah.
off of that alone, you could strip away the context or whatever or the beautiful beat or whatever's going on here. You can be my American as a lyric. I'm sold. This is a good song. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Now you
I
add
mean,
everything else to it, and it becomes a great song.
from that the first notes, you're like, oh, we're turning back around. Okay,
Mhm.
we're rallying at this point. You know what I mean? Like you get like the kind of like turned up, you know what I mean, like song, and then it's like on Nice to Know You, it's like, all right, things are definitely slipping through our fingers at this point,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And then Stateside's like, all right, fuck it then. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like a, all right, like yeah, we had two vulnerable moments on Noises and Nice to Know You, but now we're back. Now we're back. Now we're back to the it girl status,
Yeah.
which it's cool. And it's always like, as you know, me and you are from here, so it's like it's always interesting to hear different perspectives on us because so much of the music we listen to is by
Yeah.
American people,
Mhm.
right? So like it's always interesting, like whether it's Canada, UK, anywhere in the world. But like to have it be like this is the kind of like turned up song and like it's about stateside, it's like, yeah, yeah, sounds about right. Sounds about right.
And now we get to the last track, Romeo, which she's maneuvering between rapping and singing. And I think here is when she finally comes to terms that like whatever she feels is one-sided and the other person doesn't feel the same way. And I think that's a great way to close out the album and
Yeah,
close out a story, which is well, first of all, it's not an album, it's a mixtape, but close out the story that this mixtape is trying to tell. And I think that the track listing throughout, like I think this like out of everything, like we already talked about the production, we already talked about her vocal skills, but like I think the track listing, you also talked about her engineering also, but the track listing I feel like is probably like the thing that I take away from this the most because like all the other stuff we already knew about her. Like we already knew she was a great producer. We already knew like she knew how to maneuver through her vocal talent. Maybe didn't really pay as much attention to the engineering as much as we probably would have if we like really like knew that she was engineering heaven
yeah,
knows. But I think like the track listing is like the thing that's like wow, like you told a story in 9 songs in 20
for
minutes.
sure.
Like how many like people struggle to tell a story in an hour and she just did it in 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, and with the engineering thing, it's not even necessarily a sound. Like there's parts of it where it's like definitely trying different things or whatever. But to me, it just says that she's recording herself, which so I wonder how much of this is made by herself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why we get this like super personal, super like vivid imagery of this time, right? Because if it's just like if she's just on the laptop, you know, recording herself on these vocals, it's like it's a much different experience than people being in the room, right? And you got to try to like naturally people hide certain things, but if you're just doing it, and obviously I'm making this like I'm painting a picture that I don't know if it's real or not, but she has vocal engineering credits all over it. So I have to imagine some of it was like just her by herself making this stuff or like in a small like room.
Yeah.
So
Playback value?
yeah, playback value for objective, I have no idea, man. Like PinkPantheress fans love PinkPantheress, and I say this with every artist, right? Like their fans are gonna play it. I don't think this is gonna get a ton of like general run, so I'll
Hmm.
call it like, I don't know, 2 weeks. For me, this will be a project that I will come back to all summer long when I need to like almost just like shut the bars brain down and just put on a short project that just like gets me going like tempo wise, right? Because it like all that stuff like affects you like naturally, right? Like in your body. So that's what this will be for me. So I'm gonna come back to this all summer.
Yeah. Um, Objectively, I also said 2 weeks. Really because like I think this is a really good project. I think that the Pink Panthers fans are gonna like it, but I don't know how much like there isn't really like a real like maybe Noises goes, but like I don't think there's like a real like um world conquering hit here.
Yeah, right.
And that might be the thing that kind of slows it down. Subjectively, originally off of my first listen, I said 2 weeks, and I also put that it was going to grow on me. But now, after two listens, I'm putting it at a month because it already has grown on me. And through my second listen, that's when I started to really, really start to process the story more. Final thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts. I think this is a perfect follow-up to Heaven Knows, where Heaven Knows was a bigger project with more going on, and then we get really intimate. And you just see so much progress and so much mastery of vocals, storytelling, production, all that. So I think it's just the perfect follow-up to that. And it's just another display of PinkPantheress, like pretty much just like being a beast, like musically. Like she can do it all and does it all. And I think that's pretty cool. And then my favorite
Yep.
tracks, sorry, favorite tracks. Hang on. I got them right here. Favorite tracks we got number one is Stateside, number two is Stars, number three is Nice to Know You.
All right. Pink Pantheress once again delivers a project full of unique sounds that only she can execute in 2025, giving fans another flavor to expect whenever she decides to release a full-length debut album. While this is not a full-length album, Fancy That tells a story throughout the project, demonstrating her mastery over track listing. My top three tracks: number three, Stateside; number two, Nice to Know You; and number one, Noises. And this has been the Cat Podcast, episode 608. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends. Check out our previous episodes on Playboi Carti's music, Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly, Lil Durk's Deep Thoughts, and more. And make your voice heard by telling us your favorite song from Fancy That by Pink Panthers in the comments below and voting in the poll. You decide if Fancy That is album of the year, fire, mid, or trash. Follow Old Milk on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Old Milk Media. Check out oldmilk.co for more information. I'm Nate Sperlin, that's Taylor McLeod, and we will see you when hip hop tells us to. We are out. Thank you for watching.